Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to this video's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Wanted Dead. If you've never heard of it, Wanted Dead is the newest game from the critically acclaimed developers of Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive. It's a hybrid between an action hack and slash and a third-person shooter. It's violent, it's bloody, and it's a lot of fun, with over 50 unique finishing moves. It's definitely a game that fans of old-school PS2 and Xbox-style games will like, harkening back to a simpler time, before microtransactions, before broken and buggy launches, and before half the game was locked behind DLC. With Wanted Dead, you not only get a complete, content-loaded game, but you also get a riveting story in the beautiful city of cyberpunk Hong Kong, and as you fight your way through mercenaries, PMCs, and gangsters, you'll learn that everything is all part of a very big conspiracy. Check out Wanted Dead right now using the link down below in the description, and for a limited time after the publishing of this video, you can get Wanted Dead for up to 50% off. The sale lasts until September 4th on Steam, September 5th on Xbox, and September 6th on PlayStation, so be sure to get it while it's hot. I want to give a big thanks to Wanted Dead for sponsoring this video, and now, let's get on with the video. One of the many things that makes Megami Tensei stand out among other RPGs is the way it handles its multiple alignments and endings. While multiple endings and alignments are pretty much standard for RPGs nowadays, Megami Tensei has been doing it for decades, and it doesn't do a black and white alignment system like a lot of games. Almost every ending follows a different ideology: law for order, chaos for freedom, and neutrality for a balance of both. And they all have their own benefits and consequences. Of course, with a series of this many games and this many endings, chances are some of them may be better than others. Some of them may leave you feeling accomplished, while others have you dumbfounded at how little sense they made. And that is exactly what I'm going to be talking about in this video, both the best and worst of the endings to Megami Tensei games. I'm going to be looking at factors like how you get them, how well the story builds up to them, what they do, what they mean, and how content they leave you when you're done. If you're wondering why I'm combining both the best and worst list into one video and why this is a top 3 and not a top 5 or a top 10, well, the thing is, a lot of the series endings, they're just hard to talk about. I mean, I don't really have a lot to say about the endings to Shin Megami Tensei 5 other than that they pretty much all suck. These are the only ones I feel strongly enough about to talk enough about to make an entire video on. And before I start, I just want to make it clear that this video is just my opinion. I am curious to hear what your favorite and least favorite endings are in this series. And also, just to be clear, I'm only going to be looking at endings to games where you have multiple choices, not games where there's only one ending, because including an ending where that's your only choice would kind of defeat the purpose. I'm also not going to be counting endings that are intended to be bad or early endings, like killing Ryoji in Persona 3 or the white ending from Shin Megami Tensei 4, for example. Now that that's been established, let's get on with the list, starting with the worst. Okay, this one is probably going to be a little controversial, because I know there are a lot of people out there that are fans of this ending. The ending I'm talking about is Naoya's ending in Devil Survivor, and for the record, I don't even really think this is a bad ending. My issues with it lie more with the character behind it, and a lot of the issues I did have with it were addressed in Overclocked, so I'm mostly going to be focusing on this ending in vanilla Devil Survivor. Naoya's ending is basically Devil Survivor's version of the Chaos ending. You defeat the remaining Bell gods to win the War of Bell and become the King of Bell, and then you lead the war against God. Sounds awesome, right? Well, on paper, it is, but the character behind it, not so much. Let's talk about the representative of this ending, Naoya himself. Naoya is the current incarnation of Cain, who, after killing his brother, was cursed to wander the earth for all eternity, and wants revenge against God for it. And you know who the current incarnation of Abel is? You! To be fair, this isn't revealed until you've already locked yourself into one of the game's endings, but it's still pretty obvious that Naoya isn't the most trustworthy person. When you go up to Naoya at the end of the 6th day and choose to side with him, he kind of twists the facts a little to make his cause sound more appealing. He makes it sound like God and the angels orchestrated the lockdown just to screw with everyone, but if you've been paying attention to the story, they actually had a pretty good reason for doing it. You know, to prevent the demons from getting out and screwing everything up. I mean, if you want to know what's going to happen without the lockdown, just take Yuzu's original ending. Plus, the whole reason people are able to summon demons is because of the demon summoning program that Naoya himself invented. Let's not forget that while Naoya isn't responsible for the lockdown, he's the reason that you, Yuzu, and Atsuro got dragged into the conflict in the first place. It was him that gave you the demon summoning program and arranged that meeting so that you'd be inside the Yamanote circle when the lockdown started, and then he just avoids you up until the very end of the game. Is this really the guy you want to side with, despite knowing everything he's done? This ending doesn't really feel like you're supporting a noble cause to do what's best for humanity like the other endings do. It doesn't even feel like a proper edgelord take over the world kind of ending. This one just feels like you acting as Naoya's puppet in his plan for revenge against God. Even if you don't realize it, that's probably what Atsuro is thinking. Now, on one hand, I do kind of like this because it shows how hypocritical not only Naoya, but also Lucifer and a lot of the other Chaos representatives are, claiming that they're rebelling against a tyrannical authority for the greater good, when in reality they just want to overthrow the current leader and take over themselves, while using the protagonist as a pawn to help do that. But in Naoya's ending, it's just way too obvious, and you kinda just have to go along with it. And really, who knows what else Naoya is planning? He's already shown that he doesn't have a lot of regard for human life, and he's willing to do just about anything to get what he wants. Who's to say that even though you cooperated with him and went along with his plan, he doesn't still bear a grudge against you for making him wander the earth for millions of years? Who's to say he's not going to betray you later on? This is all left up in the air with this ending, and that is one of the things I like about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the writer's desk there's a script for an unpublished epilogue where Naoya ends up betraying the protagonist. You know what would have been awesome? Having the option to betray Naoya on his 8th day. If that was an option, this ending would have probably been under the best category instead. But as it is, I wouldn't dream of going along with this plan as long as Naoya is involved. I'll be honest, despite thinking that Strange Journey is the best mainline SMT and one of the best Megaten games period, I'm not a fan of any of its endings. The Law ending just has you turning everyone into a bunch of mindless zombies, while the Chaos ending has you unleash the Schwarzwelt onto the rest of the world, where most people are killed off and those that don't live under demon rule. The neutral ending sounds good on paper, you destroy the Schwarzwelt and get rid of the demons, but it's pretty clearly established throughout the game that even before the Schwarzwelt, the Earth wasn't really that great a place to live in, and it was the folly of humans that caused it. All that stuff the reporter was talking about at the beginning of the game, I don't think getting rid of the Schwarzwelt is magically going to make any of that go away. Now, what Redux aimed to do was improve the endings by making them less extreme, but at the same time, the way they just blatantly tried to retcon the endings of the original just made me roll my eyes. I mean, yeah, these new endings are better and less extreme, but these extremist ideologies were pushed by the same characters that are now trying to prevent that. However, there was one ending from Redux that I feel actually improved upon the original in every way and succeeded in what it was trying to do. That ending is Redux's new neutral ending. As I just said, in the neutral ending for Strange Journey, you destroy the Schwarzwelt, make it back to Earth, and then the game ends. It doesn't address any of the issues that led to the Schwarzwelt appearing, and Alex reveals that she came from a future where, after humanity successfully destroyed the Schwarzwelt, they didn't learn their lesson, and another Schwarzwelt appeared and they were not able to stop it. So, after defeating Shekinah, the protagonist uses the Cosmic Fruit to become the guardian of the human race so that he can destroy the Schwarzwelt when it comes back. So, in the ending cutscene after the Schwarzwelt gets destroyed, you see the protagonist just chilling on the moon, and what do you know, the Schwarzwelt appears again. But this isn't the second one that Alex was talking about. This is the 7th, and it's been 150 years since the last one, so we can assume that the protagonist has been doing this for close to or over a millennium, and by this point, he's grown weary of it. I mean, just the way he looks down at the ring and then looks at Arthur, you know this is what he's thinking.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
And this probably isn't going to be the last time he has to do this either. It's not a happy ending, it's not a peaceful ending, and it can be argued that it's even worse than the original Law or Chaos endings because the Schwarzwelt just keeps coming back over and over, and the protagonist is cursed to keep having to stop it over and over. While he is protecting humanity from annihilation by the Schwarzwelt, he can't protect humanity from itself, and that's what's causing these Schwarzwelts to keep appearing. It just goes to show that maybe humanity kinda sucks, and maybe the angels and demons in the Schwarzwelt had a point. It's an ambiguous and somber ending in all the right ways, and a great way to tie a lot of the loose ends that were left in the original game's neutral ending. Now, we're all familiar with reset button endings. It's one of the laziest and most despised tropes in all of fiction. Reset button endings aren't always bad, though. Sometimes the writers could twist them in ways that still make you feel content and like something was accomplished. In fact, you could argue that's exactly what happened with one of the endings I'm about to talk about. But more often than not, it's just an easy way for the writers to resolve the conflict without actually making a proper ending. And that's exactly what the Freedom ending is from SMT Nocturne. Now, this isn't the only reset button ending in the series. In fact, I almost put Daichi's ending from Devil Survivor 2 on here, but I decided to go with the Freedom ending instead because even though you're resetting everything back to the way it was before the game, which you might say is necessary considering what the conception did, somehow I don't feel any bit of accomplishment or even relief. I actually feel worse. Mainly because, well, first of all, in the last bit of text before the credits roll, you're told that sooner or later by Lucifer that you're going to have to face your true adversary, as in, the Great Will. So, it kinda sounds to me like you're just postponing the inevitable with this ending. But that's not all. If you've played Nocturne, I don't think you need me to tell you that Demi-Fiend's friends aren't exactly great people. They're not very friendly around you even before the conception, and they're pretty quick to turn against and attack you as soon as their reasons start developing, even before you've had a chance to even make a decision of who to side with. And that's the biggest issue I have with the Freedom ending. The world just gets reset to the way it was before the conception. Nothing changes, and everyone forgets everything that happened, except for you and Takao. So even though you just spent dozens of hours fighting against your friends who were trying to kill you over extremist ideologies, you're now just supposed to go back to your normal life and pretend nothing happened. You might say that it's not entirely their fault because, well, the world ended and they were forced to survive in a post-apocalyptic wasteland full of demons, and something like that could bring out the worst in anyone. But the fact that they were so quick to buy into those extremist ideologies and were so quick to turn against you and treat you the way they did, yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to look at my friends the same way after that, knowing how easily they'd be willing to turn against me and do those things with a complete lack of respect and remorse. At least Daichi's ending in Devil Survivor 2 has the triumphant ending where, if you meet the right conditions, you do get a look at the improved lives of the characters, so you at least know you accomplished something with that ending. But the Freedom ending in Nocturne, it just feels completely pointless, and now I've seen a side of my friends that I wish I never had. And again, you're warned that the Great Will is going to come after you. So, can you even really call this the Freedom ending if you're still gonna have to deal with the Great Will later? Having to live in anticipation of what he's going to do and when he's going to do it? I don't think so. That's right, we're going from the worst ending in Devil Survivor to the best one, and honestly, besides Naoya's and Yuzu's original endings, I think all the endings from Devil Survivor 1 are really good. But the best one is definitely Jin's ending, which is basically this game's version of the neutral ending. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You locate the demon summoning server and get rid of the demons. That's it, no political ideologies, no betraying your friends, no yeah humanity. You all just band together to save the Earth. A lot of people might call this ending basic and just being what everyone who played this game was expecting from the beginning, but I prefer to think of this as the ending that everyone wants. Jin is just kinda like, you know what? I like Tokyo. I like Japan. Let's not wage war against God or be ruled by angels or anything like that. Let's just get rid of the demons, end the lockdown, and have everything go back to the way it was. You do have to go through a few hoops to get it though, like ensuring Haru is alive for one. You also have to investigate the Shomonkai about the server, get Naoya's stuff from his apartment, save Jin from the Shomonkai, and help him as he confronts Amane. Through doing these things, you learn a lot about the events that led up to the lockdown, and you get a good amount of build up to this ending before it becomes available. When it does, you team up with Jin, find the server, beat it, order the demons to go away, and everything goes back to normal after that. And it's a goal that nearly everyone in the game could get behind. Besides these nuggets, every faction, every playable character in the game bands together towards this common objective, and it's rewarding. It doesn't leave you feeling any regrets, it makes you feel like you're doing the right thing, and even though you have a monumental task ahead of you, you feel confident. There's nothing else in the series as exciting as the moment where you and the rest of your group ascend to the top of the Tower of Roppongi Hills and call upon the Tower of Babel, the entity that holds the demon summoning server, the very thing that caused the lockdown. Then, as the game's opening theme plays as you're fighting the tower's defense system, you're reminded about everything you've learned, the experiences you've had, and all the friends you've made along the way. All the things you've been doing in this game have been leading up to this moment. But once you defeat it, you're still not done. You may have gotten rid of the demons, but the Tower of Babel isn't done with you. Now, in one of the most unexpected second forms of any final boss I've seen in any game, you have to fight Babel without demons. Yeah, this definitely caught me off guard my first time playing, but this could be seen as thematic. You can't rely on your demons anymore. You have to prove that you're able to overcome this challenge alone. And the way the music cuts off as he's dying, and that dialogue of you telling him to go away, it's just so awesome. After that, the lockdown gets lifted and everything returns to normal. But the characters are still there to remind you that even though you overcame the trial, the power of Bel still lives inside you, and the angels are going to continue to watch over the human race. This is exactly what a perfect neutral ending is. You're doing what's best and saving the human race, but you're not denying humanity's flaws either. You're just like, we'll overcome your trial. Just let us go back to our normal lives. And they agree to help you. Everyone is content, and everyone is happy. Well, except this idiot. Out of all the bad endings I couldn't have put on this list due to the rules, all the intentionally bad ones like being Adachi's accomplice in Persona 4, the regular demon ending from Nocturne, I still don't think any of them are anywhere near as bad as this one. And the worst part is that this was intended by the developers to be the best ending. I am talking about the neutral ending from Shin Megami Tensei 4. Yeah, I said it. I think this is the worst ending in the entire franchise. Everyone praises this ending as one of the best, and I really don't understand why. It's full of bass-ackwards logic, plot holes, and some of the most headache-inducing dialogue in the entire series. First of all, let's talk about what you need to do to get this ending. The alignment system in SMT4 works like a scale like it does in every other game, but unlike Strange Journey, where your alignment could easily be determined by the color of your name, Shin Megami Tensei 4 has nothing like that. It can be checked by talking to this guy at the bar, through your one conversation with Tenkai, and apparently by observing which direction your cursor rotates in the overworld, which I didn't actually know until I started working on this video, but this is an extremely easy detail to miss, and even knowing these, it's just way too easy to veer away from neutrality unless you're religiously following a guide. There are even some things that affect your alignment where you don't even get a choice at all, like when you have to rescue the angels from the Kagome Tower. Doing that gets you plus 10 toward law, and there's no way around it. And do you want to know how close to the middle your alignment needs to be to get the neutral ending? It has to be between 8 and -8. And right before the alignment lock, you have a conversation with a choice where your only 2 options give you 10 points in either direction. So even if you've been playing perfectly toward the neutral path and your alignment is at exactly 0, you are still punished and cannot get the neutral ending. You have to either go Chaos or Law. But what about the ending itself? Well, once you do get the neutral ending, you're greeted by Steven in the Monochrome Forest, and once you're out, you're greeted by Isabeau. We go to Masakado, and she asks him to remove the firmament. Yeah, somehow Isabeau, despite spending days in Tokyo dealing with people who have been stealing from her and trying to kill her, just suddenly decides after meeting a few nice people that the solution to the conflict between the angels and demons is to remove the firmament and have the people of Tokyo and Mikado living together. I'm not exactly sure how that's supposed to resolve the conflict. I mean, even if the firmament is removed, the angels could still just come down and nuke Tokyo anyway. If anything, that makes things worse because now the Mikado people will get mixed up with them, and they'll be nuked along with them. That doesn't stop the Chaos side from unleashing demons against everyone either. It actually makes it easier. But Masakado tells us we need to fill up the Chalice of Hope before he can do anything. And in order to do this, we have to win the Hunters Tournament. So once we get to the top, we now have to go around Tokyo, and suddenly people come flocking towards us and start shouting about how much hope we're giving them.
Oh, there's just no other word to describe him!
You ask me? It's a privilege breathing the same air as you. Oh, I got hope for us here in Tokyo now.
Just seeing him here gives me hope.
My heart is so full of hope that it's making me tear-bend.
So once we've filled up the chalice with enough cringeworthy lines of dialogue, we go back to Masakado and he tries to remove the firmament. but fails and tells us we need to get the great spirits of goodwill and spite. We head on up through Naraku to go back to Mikado, but before we can go through, we have to fight our way through Purgatorium and kill Merkaba to get the great spirit of goodwill. Isabeau then leaves the party so that she can tell the people of the kingdom that they should come down to Tokyo to live with the unclean ones. Okay, sure, the caste system is abolished and the angels just died, but I'm supposed to believe that this teenage apprentice samurai who, mind you, is a wanted fugitive for desertion who just helped kill the thing that was protecting the kingdom is now, in the span of a few hours, going to single-handedly convince an entire kingdom of thousands of people to just leave their homes and abandon their lives to go to this futuristic underground city filled with demons and people they've been calling the unclean ones for centuries? I mean, I guess the ground under them is about to be removed, so if they stay, they'll be... Wait a second. Go back. Masakado tried to remove the firmament while everyone was still up there. I mean, he didn't, but he thought he was going to, and he tried to. What would have happened if it worked?
The ceiling will finally be removed.
I thought the goal of this ending was to prevent genocide. Okay, so let's say killing Merkaba elevated Isabeau's speech skill to 10 billion, and she is somehow realistically able to convince the entire kingdom to migrate to the land of the unclean ones. What next? Well, now we have to go to Lucifer's palace to get the great spirit of spite. We go through the castle and fight the boss.
That a son of man who draws strength from an evil god, nor demons could show such power.
Right. Draws strength from neither god nor demons. Except the 3 demons standing next to me fighting alongside me. And the ones in my comp. And the ones I was using earlier in the game. And Masakado, who is the protector god of Tokyo. So we beat Lucifer, and we can now finally remove the firmament, while also not killing anyone. I hope? I'm pretty sure a few people got their homes and or bodies crushed by those falling rocks. So Masakado removes the firmament, the goddess gets revived, and they all live together in harmony. Except for the people of Mikado, who probably aren't going to get along with the people of Tokyo right away. And the remnants of the Ashurakai and Ring of Gaia who are still at large. And the remaining demons running around that still want to kill and eat humans. For the record, I don't really think any of SMT4's endings are all that good. The Law ending just has you committing genocide against everyone in Tokyo, while Chaos just has you unleashing a horde of demons on everyone in Mikado. And then the White ending has you just killing everyone. But what pisses me off the most is how the neutral ending is touted by everyone as the best ending, the true ending. It's almost like the Law and Chaos endings were purposefully made to be bad just to make the neutral ending and what it stands for look better. And that's not what Megami Tensei is about. Megami Tensei is supposed to be about presenting these different ideologies with their pros and cons and choosing the one you think is best. I mean, bias toward the neutral ending is a problem I have with the series in general, but SMT4 is easily the worst offender. And that is why I think this is the worst ending in the entire franchise. I've gone on record by saying that I don't think Devil Survivor 2's story and characters were quite as strong as the first game, especially the characters. But one thing it definitely did a great job with is its endings. Unlike the first game, where the different endings were based on the law, chaos, and neutral ideologies of the early games, Devil Survivor 2 got a little more creative, and its endings are more like the reasons in SMT Nocturne. Each representative plans to use Polaris to create his ideal world. I already talked about how Daichi's ending is just a slightly better than average reset button ending and easily the weakest one, but then you have Ronaldo, who plans to create an egalitarian society where everyone is treated equally, while Yamato plans to create a meritocracy where those who prove themselves to be more powerful are given more privilege. You might say that Ronaldo is law and Yamato is chaos, but I'd actually say that both of them are law since they both pledge allegiance to Polaris and use her to enforce their rules. The Chaos ending would be the Liberation ending, where you kill Polaris and pick up the pieces from there. However, there is one other ending that could be considered Chaos, and that's the one that I'm going to be talking about for this entry. That ending is Alcor's ending. Alcor is one of the Septentriones, who is supposed to serve under Polaris, but he's also the one who helped give the humans their civilization because he believed in them, and in the events of the game, he gave humanity the demon summoning program and the Nicaea app so that they might stand a chance against Polaris. Throughout the course of the game, he gives the player crucial advice to help with defeating the Septentriones, but he also presents the protagonist with a new ideology. What if the human race could get a clean start to attain true freedom? If you get his fate system up to rank 4 before the 7th day when everyone splits off into different factions, you could choose to side with none of them and side with Alcor instead. When you start this route, it's pretty clear that you're the weakest side in the conflict, because to start off, you only have yourself and Alcor. You're going up against entire groups of people with just 2 party members, and it can be intimidating at the start, but it's all the more rewarding when you beat them, and then you can convince any characters whose fates you've gotten to rank 4 or higher to join you. The only ones that don't join you no matter what are Yamato and Ronaldo. Once you've gotten past that, you and the rest of your party head off to face Polaris, and once you beat her, Alcor creates the new world. A fresh start. One where how it turns out, how it's shaped, is all up to you. As the game puts it, mankind will go on as a species with untapped, limitless possibility, and that's where the game ends. I've heard a lot of people compare Alcor to Lucifer. I mean, you unlock Lucifer by getting his fate up to rank 5, but what sets them apart is that while Lucifer is obsessed with the idea of surpassing God and rising to rule, Alcor is actually more true to his ideology of true freedom. While he does take Polaris' position as administrator in this ending, and he continues to watch over them, he doesn't have any direct involvement. He leaves everything to the humans, and it could be argued that this ending is either law, chaos, or neutral, wherever deism falls into these categories. The best thing about this ending is that, let's say you leaned more towards Ronaldo's or Yamato's ideals, there's nothing preventing you from shaping the world in that way, or maybe you want to create a world with a new ideology. Anything is possible in this clean slate world. Everything is up to your imagination, and that is why I think this is the best ending in all of Megami Tensei. It could be pretty much anything you want. What happens and how it turns out is entirely up to you.